Is it okay right now? Is I'm audible? Now it is audible? Now it is audible? Okay. So Vivek was asking about. Oh dear. There is some issue in the pen. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. There's an issue in the pen. Something is wrong here. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Read up capital and question is okay. I think there is an issue in the annotation. Oh, some problem is coming there in this annotation part. Just give me a second. I'm looking in the problem. What is the problem? Actually, this annotation part is not working properly. It's creating an issue. Okay, it's resolved. I'm just starting this annotation. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I hope now you are able to see me as well as what annotation is going on the screen. You are able to see. Paid up capital. Another question was F bill. Okay, then. Okay. So see, Vivek, your question paid up capital. Uh, Mala has rightly answered. Paid up capital is a part of called up capital, which has been actually paid by the shareholders. Means see, if there is a single owner, if there is a single owner, suppose that A is the owner of company, single owner of the company, and he is going to put 50 lakh 50 lakh to start his business. He is going to put 50 lakh to start his business. Then that 50 lakh is going to be known as paid up capital. Is going to be known as paid up capital. But if there are many shareholders, A plus B plus C plus D, four shareholders, so combinedly what the amount they are going to put to start their business means all of them they have shareholding of 25%, 25%, 25%. Each have 25%. All shareholders have 25%, and all of them they have put total 50 lakh rupees amount to start their business. Then it is going to be known as paid up capital. Okay. Now, Chetan, your question is FBIL. See, FBIL, it will be better to understand. Basically, it is what Financial Benchmark Authority of India Limited, right? So there is an authority which set the benchmark. So better let's first this money market will be over. Once the money market will be over, then I will let you know what basically F bill works, right? What is the basic functioning of F bill? I will explain you there. Okay. See, let's once we will move in the capital market, right? Capital market. हेलो. हाँ, अशोक जी थोड़ा सा इशू आ गया था इसलिए मैं कॉल कर रहा था. अभी तो रिजॉल्व हो गया. हाँ हाँ अभी हो गया. ठीक है. All these terminologies related to initial capital, paid up capital, seed capital, all these terms will basically come in the capital market, right? Because the money is going to be inserted by the person or group or company, right? For the purpose, these basically terms are related to the equity, means they are coming in the proportion or reciprocation with the shares. Here we are dealing with the debt market right now. So hold these things. Once this money market will be over, I am going to explain all these basic terminologies related to the capital market and kind of capital and whatever will be there. I'll let you know. Right. Ringtone अच्छी है. Okay, thank you. if you want to justify your course of action, right, just follow what Bhagwan Shri Krishna said. You will be having a crystal clarity of whatever the action you have taken or whatever you want to justify. You can justify anything, whatever you want, right? So Lord Krishna, he's a kind of person. Bhagavad Gita, right? His statements and all these things, you can justify anything. चलो फिलोसफी में बहुत बातें हो गई, अब आते हैं अपने टॉपिक पे. इन द लास्ट क्लास वी हैव एंडेड विद व्हाट primary dealer and money market and capital market. Today we have to do with CB and CBLO. CB and CBLO. So before going to CB and CBLO, one more thing I just want to let you know. I hope all of you know about this repo. All of you know about repo. So who operates the repo? If question will come, who operates repo operation? Answer will be, what will be the answer? Yes, RBI. So before moving further, few things I just want to make you understand. Even when I was discussing the functions of RBI, I have made you very clear about the repo. What we generally read it as a REPO. It is actually REPO. What is the full form? Full form is repurchase obligation. Repurchase obligation, right? So this term repo was an innovation of US Federal Reserve. US Federal Reserve, right? So US Federal Reserve has innovated this repurchase obligation instrument, and it was widely used in the US money market. Then it also started means used by another Western European countries like Britain, France. They also started using. Japan also started. Then RBI has also introduced this repo system, right? What generally people like normal those who are preparing for this exams, they know that what it is RBI who did this repo operation under the repo rate and reverse repo rate, right? So what is repo rate? RBI offer loan. RBI borrow from banks, right? RBI offer loans to bank for short term, here also for short term, right? And whenever this lending happened, means once the repo will be operated, so who is going to borrow under repo? Who is going to borrow? Who is going to borrow? That is banks. So what bank have to do? Bank have to offer a promise. Bank have to offer a promise, and that promise will not come in terms of normal paper like commercial paper and all. That paper must be government security, right? That paper must be government security owned by the bank, right? What is the government security? Means a paper on which government is making a promise to repay the money. So I told you banks have to maintain SLR, statutory liquidity ratio, and it should be maintained in terms of cash or gold or government securities, right? So if bank want to borrow, from RBI, okay, if bank want to borrow from RBI, then bank have to promise. Bank must have a promise to repay, right? So what bank is going to do? Bank is going to give it security paper. For example, this is the security paper. Okay, so this is the government security paper. So on this government security paper, bank is going to write, I am offering you this paper. How the loan is going to be offered by the RBI? Just try to understand. RBI is going to ask bank, okay, give me the government security. On the basis of that government security, on the behalf of government security, I will give you the loan. So bank have to give his government security to RBI, and against that government security, RBI will give the loan to bank, right? But on the government security, there will be repurchase obligation. Try to understand this term. This is the paper. This is the government security. Okay, this is the government security, and bank is writing here, this government security is having a worth of, suppose, 105 rupees, and means bank is selling this GSS to RBI, on discount of 5 rupees, and I will repurchase this government security from RBI on this date by paying 105 rupees, right? So this is the government security is having the worth of 105 rupees, and I, means bank, is selling this GSS to RBI on the discount of 5 rupees. So discount of 5 rupees means RBI will purchase this security at the price of 100 rupees. And again, bank will repurchase this security at the price of 105 rupees. Right? So RBI is purchasing. So under repo, what will happen? Under repo, what will happen? This is bank and here is RBI. Right? This is bank, it is RBI. So bank is first giving its government security. It's not simple giving. RBI is purchasing. Bank is selling its government security. See, you are going to put your security at some place. मैं अपनी security कहीं रखने जा रहा हूँ. Right? So putting a security and selling a security are the two different terms. I will explain you why here the term selling and purchasing is specifically used. I will explain you. But first, try to understand here. Bank is going to sell its government security to RBI. Okay. And against that, what RBI is going to do? RBI is going to give 100 rupees. Okay. Once the maturity maturity will be there, then what will happen? Then bank is going to take back its security. Bank is obliged. Because bank has written here ki I will repurchase. I will repurchase this security from whom? I will repurchase this security from RBI by how much? So government security will go to back again whom? Bank. And bank will give how much? 105 rupees. So in this way, this is called as a repo. A specific term repo is used because here the lending and borrowing first. Lending and borrowing is going to happen against a government security. Number one. Number two, here there is a selling and reselling, or you can say that there is a repurchase obligation on the bank. Repurchase obligation on the bank must have to repurchase that government security which he has given to whom? RBI. यहां तक clear है? You have clarity till then here right now. Understood? If you understood, then I will move forward. In the repo operations, there must be a government securities. Repo means us selling or repurchasing of the government securities. So repo operations happen only on the basis of government securities. So it is a mandatory thing under the repo. Whenever the repo will happen, there will be use of government securities. Right. So suppose that bank sold this government security to RBI. Right. The bank sold this government security to RBI for 3 months or 15 days or 7 days, whatever the duration. We don't want to enter the duration. Try to understand the important thing. So suppose that it's a 3 month. So for that 3 month, who is the owner of that GSIS? The owner of that GSIS is who? The owner of that government security is RBI. The owner of that government security is RBI. So RBI have complete freedom to do whatever RBI want against that government security. Right? RBI have complete freedom over that government security. Right? Because RBI has the ownership for that movement. So RBI is having the ownership. So once you have an ownership, right? So for example, you are living in a rented house, right? You are living in a rented house. So if you are living in a rented house, then you cannot give that property, some part of that property to another person. If you are living in a rented house, then you cannot sublet. Sublet means you cannot rent it to further other person. It is not allowed, right? But if there is an agreement on the rent agreement, it is written there that for that said period, you have this authority of giving the sublet, or you are going to have an ownership of that home for 1 year. I am giving you the ownership of that home for 1 year. If that kind of the thing is written on the agreement where you are living on the rented house, then even you can use the entire property or the some part of the property even for the further renting process. Got it? So, for example, here in this case, if RBI got this security for 3 months, and after 3 months, bank will repurchase this security from RBI, right? So, for that 3 months, RBI is having the ownership. So, against the ownership, whatever RBI want to do with this government security, RBI can do it, right? So, this is why the repurchase obligations are having a distinct feature, right? Distinct feature. Generally, suppose that some person is going outside the hometown, right? He's your neighbor and he is going outside. So he's saying that at my place, there is no proper car parking. So I want to park my car at your residential place if you do not have any obligation, right? So you said, okay, you can park. So you just hold that thing. You just hold that thing, but you cannot use that thing for your own travel and all, right? Maybe you can ask him, see, I have to pay, means my society charge me. My society charge me to have the vehicle. Right? If I am going to have a vehicle, then society is going to charge some amount. So you are going outside for 3 months. So what you have to do, I will allow you. You can park your car in my car parking, and whatever the amount for 3 months will be there, you can give me. I will pay to my society, because society is going to charge. I have a space, but that is chargeable, so that's fine. But in that case, you do not have an ownership of that car, right? You do not have an ownership of that car. But if it is kind of repurchase obligation, your neighbor and you went for the repurchase obligation. So in the repurchase obligation, he said that okay, for 3 months I'm giving you this car. Now for 3 months you have this car, either you can park that car or you can use that car. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Even you can sell it. But again, when he will be back, you have to give that car. Right? You must have to return that car. If you fail to return that car, then some kind of the settlement and negotiation will happen with both parties. But generally, as per the agreement, at the end of 3 months, the person means you must have to return that car to that person. Okay, I hope there is a clarity regarding repurchase obligation. So when the bank will take back the security and give 105 rupees, it will be no. It is not going to be reverse repo rate. It is not going to be reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate means what? The same operation in the reverse repo. In the reverse repo, what will happen? In this reverse repo operation, if it is the reverse repo operation, here will be RBI and here will be bank. And again here will be what? RBI and here will be bank. So in case of reverse repo, who is going to borrow? RBI is going to borrow. RBI is going to borrow and RBI will give government security to bank. RBI will give the government security to bank, and bank will give the money to RBI. And once the obligation time will come, means maturity will come, then RBI will repurchase that government security from bank and pay the money. Right? So reverse repo is like that. Clear? Repo and reverse repo is clear. So this, what I wrote here in the black ink, that is showing the reverse repo operation, and in the red ink, it is showing the repo operations. Okay. So here, in this system, repo operation is conducted by RBI. Okay. Why? Because here bank to RBI or RBI to bank. Right. Means RBI is involved in this repo operation. RBI is involved in this repo operation. Another term is known as market repo. Another term is market repo. Market repo means SBI and HDFC. SBI is suppose that borrower and here it is lender, right? RB is a borrower and HDFC is a lender. So RBI is a borrower. So what RBI is going to do? RBI is going to give its government security. And against that government security, what HDFC will do? HDFC will provide the money. Government security will go here, right? And money will go here. At the time of maturity, right? At the time of maturity, what will happen? SBI and HDFC. So at the time of maturity, government security will go to whom? Government security will go back to SBI, and SBI have to pay the decided amount money. So this is known as example of, this is an example of what? This is an example of market repo. This is an example of market repo. So what is the main feature of market repo? In the market repo, you can see that in the case of market repo, RBI's involvement is not required. In the case of market repo, the involvement of RBI is not required, but it will be called as a repo only when the government securities is going to be used for the purpose of lending and borrowing, right? So lending and borrowing will happen, right? Lending and borrowing will happen on the guarantee of government securities, right? So if somebody is going to ask market repo is a market of secured promissory notes or unsecured promissory notes, what will you answer? If somebody is going to ask market repo is a market of secured promissory notes or unsecured promissory notes, what you will answer about market repo? Answer please. Yes, it's a secured. Why secured? Because here the most secured instrument is being used, that is government securities. So market repo is also a secured instrument, right? Now understand what happened actually in India. What actually happened in India when we have did these reforms in 1991, 1992 reforms we did, right? So after this reforms, RBI want to make money market and capital market more attractive for investors, private investors, right? Those who want to invest in India, for that investment requirement, we want to attract. From 1991, 1992, our policy is to attract more investments, right? For investments, interest rate must be market dependent and not highly regulated by central bank or government, right? Central bank or government. So to make more investments, if suppose that a company want to invest in your country. So for investments, if I want to invest in India, I am going to need of working capital and long-term capital. Working capital and long-term capital. Working capital, investor will go to where? Money market. Right? Investor will go to the money market. So in the money market, interest rate should be easy and market dependent. And for that, making more availability, RBI has started first market repo. So RBI himself started repo operation later. First, RBI has introduced the market repo. So under the market repo, banks can go for repo operations, right? So repo operations means if particular bank hold a government security, right, then they can go to other bank and sell their government security for a particular period and can go for the money. So when this market repo was introduced in India, okay, when the market repo was introduced in India, generally banks were using call and notice money market. RBI has provided additional instrument that was market repo. RBI introduced the market repo. Call money market and notice money market is unsecured. Unsecured because there in the call money market and notice money market, lending and borrowing is happen over the phone or just a promissory notes. Just a promissory notes, not on the basis of government securities. Right? Here in the market repo, lending and borrowing is happening on PN, and these PNs are what? Government securities. Right? So RBI has introduced this operation. But what RBI found that even having these two instruments is still interest rates are little bit in higher side. So to control the interest rate here, in this two market, call money and market repo, then RBI introduced what? RBI's repo operation. RBI's repo operation. So how RBI's repo operation is going to balance interest rates here? Suppose that in these two market, in the market repo and in call money, notice money market, interest rates are going little bit higher. They are unnecessarily rising. What RBI will do? RBI will start doing its own repo operation. RBI will purchase the government securities and provide the loan. Suppose that here the interest rate is 6%. Right? Interest rate is 6%. But RBI want interest rate should be 5%. So RBI will do what? RBI will start doing its own repo operation. So automatically when the RBI will start doing his repo operation, interest rate can be bring down here. And suppose that if interest rates are going little bit low here, 3% or 4%, which is not good, then again RBI can do its repo operation and it can maintain the interest rate. So RBI's repo operation are going to control what? RBI's repo operations, they are going to control interest rates. So that is why when we discuss about monetary policy, when we say the monetary policy, so where we can see the immediate impact of monetary policy decision, where we can see that means whatever the RBI has decided in the monetary policy review, where we can see the immediate impact, that is money market. Why money market? Because when RBI is going to change interest rates here, definitely it will be automatically impact call money and notice money market plus market repo here also. Okay. The securities which bank use in the repo can be the same at the time of reverse repo. RBI can return back the same securities. No. Don't intermingle it. Don't intermingle it. They are two different operations. Don't try to mingle it. They are two different operations. In repo operation, banks are borrowing. In the reverse repo operation, it is RBI borrowing. Maybe that same security will be there, but that same security is going to happen at a different point of time. Right? I am having this blue t-shirt. Right? So I am having this blue t-shirt. So I am going to have this blue t-shirt during the class. Right? Or going outside. Right? But I cannot be at both places at the same time. Either I will be in the class or I will be the outside. Right? Like famous biryani house. What is the name of that place? Bawarchi's biryani, right? Or Paradise. Paradise is just a name right now. It's not too good, but so I cannot be at same place. Means at the same time, I cannot be. It is not possible for me to be at the same place. Means here as well as there. So considering myself as a government security, so I can be here or I can be there only, right? So simultaneously, it cannot happen. No, my personal favorite is Shadab. Shadab's biryani near that old Hyderabad city, or near Charminar. That is the awesome biryani I have. Jyoti, is it clear? Still, it is not clear. I'll explain. Not here. I'll explain it separately. But I hope now it is clear. सर अगर जीसस के बजाय गोल्ड यूज करें तो उसको क्या कहेंगे? कहाँ जीसस की जगह गोल्ड यूज करना है भाई तुमको? Where you want to use gold in place of Jesus? For SLR? For SLR? For what you want to use the gold? What should I repeat? No. Bank to bank borrowing gold is not used. Gold. See, the price of government security 105. SBI want to purchase. SBI want to borrow 100 rupees. Okay, SBI want to borrow 100 rupees, and he has given his government security of 105 to HDFC on the discount of what? On the discount of 5 rupees. Right? And HDFC is going to sell that security back to SBI at the price of 105. Right? So first SBI is going to sell that security of 105 at the discount of 5 rupees to HDFC. HDFC is going to return that security to SBI. Why? SBI is obliged to repurchase this security from HDFC after a certain point of time at the price of 105 rupees. So HDFC is going to sell this security back to SBI. Why? Because SBI is obliged to repurchase it from HDFC at the price of 105 rupees. So you can see that the value of this government security is going to be remain same when it is going back to the SBI. But if you are going to use the gold, then the value of gold is itself fluctuating now. So it is going to create a problem. Manmeet, what should I repeat? What is not clear? ये दोनों क्लियर है? RBI repo and market repo is clear? It is not possible to explain entirely. You have to see the lecture, that part of recorded part of lecture again. If you have any doubt, let me know, because it's not possible to repeat the entire RBI repo and market repo. In very short, I can tell you, repo means what? Repo means repurchase obligation. That means what? That means if there is a bank and RBI, so bank is going to sell its government security to RBI and borrow the money. But at the same time, bank is obliged to repurchase that government security from RBI. So what RBI will do? RBI will purchase the bank's government security on discount. Suppose that the value of government security which bank hold having the value of 105, RBI has purchased it on discount, that is 100 rupees, right? And once the term will be over, bank is obliged to repurchase it from RBI by paying 105 rupees. This is RBI repo. And when the same thing will happen between two banks, for example, bank A and bank B, then it will be known as market repo. Everything will be remain same, the operation will be remain same, government security will be there, and it will be known as market repo. What is your question? Sir, market repo is also regulated by RBI. Yes, obviously. How RBI is going to regulate? RBI is going to, first of all, it is RBI which is going to allow those entities can go for market repo. Who can participate in the market repo? It is decided by whom? First of all, RBI. So RBI regulate in this term, because RBI will allow you, only then you can participate in the market repo. Number one. Number two, whatever the interest rates are being traded here, whatever the interest rates are going here, that can be manipulated by or managed by RBI. If RBI is going to change its interest rate, suppose that you are getting the cheap loan in RBI's repo, why will you will go to the market repo? If RBI is doing the repo operations, and under those repo operations, right, under those repo operation, the interest rate is low, then definitely people will not go to market repo. When people will go to the market repo, two possibilities. Number one possibility, RBI repo operation is not available at that point of time. RBI is not doing any repo operation, then you can move to market repo. Another condition, the interest rate offered by the RBI, it's higher than the market repo. Right. So in that way, RBI have a kind of controlling authority in the market repo operations. Okay. Any other question? If there is no other question, then I will move to tri-party repo. I have given you the example of where SBI is borrowing from HDFC. Right. SBI is borrowing from HDFC. Right. So there is no third party here. But suppose that there is a third party X here, and through X, this selling and purchasing is happening. Through X, this selling and purchasing is happening, means it is organization X, which is responsible of trading of government securities from one bank to another bank, then another bank to that bank, right? If there is any third party is involved here, then we will call this as a tri-party repo. So in the tri-party repo, three entities will be there. Two will be there as a lender and borrower, and third party is going to facilitate this entire activity. Then it is going to be known as third party repo. Clear? What is third party repo? Third party repo is a kind of repo where lender and borrower will go to third party who is going to facilitate that lending and borrowing of repo operation. Then we will call this as a tri-party repo. Okay. Understood what is third party repo? No. RB will not third party. RB will not third party here. Here third party will be like Clearing Corporation of India Limited, CCIL. Clearing Corporation of India Limited, that can play as a role of third party repo. Clearing Corporation. It's like that ki sometimes people say that ki yaar, why you have a driver? You can drive on your own. Yes, I can drive. I know driving and even I love driving, but I prefer to have a driver so that in that point of time when my driver is driving, I can do some more productive work. Right? Even in the car, I can handle some other works, paper files, I can read newspaper, all these things. So that's why I need a driver. Right? Similarly, here SBI and HDFC both mutually can do this repo operation. Both mutually can do their repo operations, but they do not want to put their resources for that selling and purchasing kind of the thing, right? So that's why they went to third party, that is Clearing Corporation of India Limited. And on the behalf of these two parties, they are going to facilitate all the paperwork and settlement. All this going to happen means first when HDFC will pay the money to SBI, that is going through CCIL. Similarly, when SBI going to repay and get back its security, all this going to happen under the supervision of CCIL. So settlement and payment will be done through the CCIL, Clearing Corporation of India Limited. Right? Clearing Corporation of India Limited is going to settle this borrowing and lending. That is why we have here CCIL. So third party repo is quite common. So most of the market repos are happening through tri-party repo because it's going to be a little bit easier for banks. By involving that CCIL, we need not to put our own resources. Means banking people are not going to involve in that work of settlement and all. It is going to be done through the CCIL. Bhai, please don't use this kind of the term repeat, right? Because there is a lag between what I am telling you and what I'm reading, what you are writing here. So whenever you are writing these things, repeat kind of the thing, what should I repeat? Please tell me that thing also. Anyone who is from economics background here? Okay, now it is clear. Thank you. So how many of you are from economics background who are watching this class right now? So how many you are, means why I'm asking this question regarding you are from economics background. If you are from economics background, have you read that kind of the repo in detail or not in when you are studying in graduation or post graduation, whatever you have did, economics background? I am out. So this was the reason why I was asking ki have you means if you have this subject in your background, means graduation or post graduation, have you went through this in depth and detail or not? Tri-party repo. Okay. Now, why I told you the entire thing, this repo operation, market repo operation, or even the tri-party repo, I can easily skip, right? I can easily skip because I know you don't know. So I am going to tell you, listen me very carefully. As a smart person or clever person, not smart person, I will call as a clever teacher. What they will do, they do what they anticipate what students know, but they do not have a clarity. What they know, but they do not have a clarity, they will explain only on those things. When they are teaching for RBI Grade B or they are teaching for UPSC, especially to highest competitive exam where they do ask economics in such a depth, so what they will do, they will go for what? They'll teach with an anticipation. Ki students know this thing, but they do not have a clarity. So we will explain only those things, right? And I know you don't know that thing. So I'm not going to explain. Right? I'm not going to explain because explaining that thing is a little bit tricky. And maybe some students are not able to understand, then they will make a noise and your feedback is going to be poor. Right? So for that, sometimes people will do this thing. So that's why this kind of the operations you are not able to make them understand. Right? But as a teacher, we should not afraid of having a negative feedback. We always have to take the thing as a positively. Even if you want to criticize, if you have any issue, let me know so that I will improve, and that is going to help you, right? It's not like that ki I am going to feel it bad. I am going to take it very positively. If you will give something ki sir, this is the issue, even if you don't wish to tell here, you can tell me directly. I'll try to improve it. So I always believe that ki I'm not complete. Maybe I'm not able to get it. For example, when Chetan asked me this term, I was out of mind. I was blank at that moment. I was blank. I was not able to get it what it is. Right? Then I searched it and I found that कि अच्छा ये होता है. Okay, fine. Then I thought that कि okay, fine. But to explain it, you must know the complete market knowledge. Only then it will be good for you. So sometimes this thing happen because it's a wide field and a lot of it's not possible for me to cover each and everything 100%, or even I'm not going to claim it ki I can cover the 100%. But my effort is always I will try to cover all those areas specifically which are normal, and there is a probability. Some few things will encounter like this FBIL kind of the thing. Whenever it will be encounter, I will edit on and I will share with you. Yes, Bhavna, that happens. So I have explained you about repo in detail, RBI's repo, then market repo, and again tri-party repo. So here RBI, banks are involved. RBI in RBI's repo and in market repo and tri-party repo, banks and CCIL is involved, right? CCIL is involved, banks are involved, and RBI is involved, right? So if it is RBI repo in RBI's repo, RBI and bank. In market repo, B2B means bank to bank. Here, bank, CCIL, and bank is involved, right? So you can see that clearing corporation, RBI, and most importantly, banks are involved. Banks are here borrower as well as lender. So money market is not just a market for banks. It is a market for financial institutions, right? Other players are also there, na? Other players are also there. But for other players, this kind of facility is not available because in the repo operations, who can participate? RBI, banks, and CCIL. Right. Now, another question arises, ki, sir, for other financial institutions, they already have certificate of deposit, commercial papers, even commercial bills. All these facilities are available. Why they want to involve in the repo market? Why they want to involve in the repo market? The answer is the repo market here, it is purely secured. Here, lending and borrowing is happening on the basis of what? Government securities. Here, the lending and borrowing is happening on the basis of government securities, right? So that is why other financial institutions like insurance companies, LIC, and other insurance companies, other financial institutions like NBFC and other institutions, they are pushing RBI. They are pushing RBI since 1995. They are pushing RBI कि अंकल जी हमारे लिए भी स्टार्ट करिए ना, please start for this kind of the facility for us also. RBI said that कि I will think about that, right? RBI said that I will think about that. I will think about that. So this thought process was going on and on and on. Finally, RBI has given a kind of authority to CCIL, Clearing Corporation of India Limited. They have given the authority CCIL ki okay, if you want, you can run a similar kind of operation like repo. Similar kind of repo operations means what? It means CCIL can facilitate such kind of the market repo operation. Such kind of the market repo operation, but they are going to be known as collateralized borrowing and lending obligation. Collateralized borrowing and lending obligation. CBLO. CBLO. CCI can facilitate CBLO. Now here the most important term is what? Collateralized. You have seen here in the repo operation it is secure because collateral is available in terms of what? Collateral was available in terms of government securities. Collateral was available in terms of government securities, right? Similarly, here CCIL can also facilitate such kind of operations for all other financial institutions apart from bank. Apart from bank means under CBLO, LIC can lend money to any NBFC, or LIC can lend money to NABARD, right? Or NABARD can lend money to RRB under CBLO. Once it will happen under the CBLO, operation will be remain like this. How it is going to be remain like this? If LIC is going to lend NBFC, NBFC have to first give its government security to whom? LIC. And against that government security, LIC can lend money to NBFC, non-banking financial company. And at the time of maturity, LIC is going to sell back to NBFC. Means, in other words, we can say that first NBFC borrow money from LIC by selling its government security. Once the maturity will be over, NBFC will repurchase that government security from LIC. Right? So in this way, this will happen, and these operations are known as CBLO, collateralized borrowing and lending obligation. In repo में क्या था? Repo में था repurchase obligation. So here the instrument known as collateralized borrowing and lending obligation. Repos are having three players: RBI, banks, and whom? RBI, banks, and this one CCIL. Here in the collateralized borrowing and lending obligation facilitated by CCIL, and here all other institutions approved by RBI and CCIL, they can participate here. So those who are complaining that you are providing the better facility to whom? Only banks. Now under the CBLO, the same kind of the facility is also available for all India financial institutions. Thank you, Bhavna. It's always means see. I'll tell you one thing here. I explained you this tri-party repo, market repo, right? Tri-party repo, market repo, all these things I explained you because I want to explain this term, collateralized borrowing. I want to explain this term, collateralized borrowing, because if I am going to tell you directly what is CBLO, I can just simply tell you कि see the repo operations are available only for banks. So for others, how I can explain you very simply? CBLO. CBLO is a kind of operation started at blah blah date. It was operated by CCIL, right? And under that, those entities who are not eligible to participate in the repo operation, they can utilize this collateralized borrowing and lending obligation. खत्म, इतने में खत्म हो जाता. And I have the PDF. I have that PDF for that. CBLO. See. See this PDF. Financial institutions often need liquidity or ready cash to meet their transaction. Usually, repo facility of RBI gives one-day loan to scheduled commercial banks. Another mechanism is called money market, where the financial institutions can avail the loan from 1 day to 14 days. In the same way, quick money or the short-term money can be obtained by the financial institution from collateralized borrowing and lending obligation. Right? What is CBLO? So here, it's very easy. It's very easy to, without explaining what collateralized borrowing means here. Right. To explain that collateralized borrowing, you have to start from scratches. What is market repo? What is repo? First repo, what is repo? Then what is market repo? Then what is RBI's repo? Why it is being there? Interest rates are how are going to be managed? So the crystal clarity will be there. And from here, if new term will be going to be in the financial market, you are automatically going to understand this term because you have understanding from the base. So this is the objective, not only to explain you what is happening or what happened in the past. It is effort to make you capable so that if any new thing will come, you need not my assistance, you can do it on your own. This is the main objective. In CBLO, RBI can do lending and purchasing with any other financial institution. No, RBI will not involve. RBI will not involve CBLO. Here in the CBLO, RBI need not to intervene because it is going to be managed by First Clearing Corporation of India, number one. Right. And this is the market where the other financial institutions are involved. If CBLO market interest rates are fluctuating, right, then RBI will intervene indirectly through CCIL. RBI will not intervene directly. Sir, how to utilize crack grade B course with your lecture to score maximum marks? How to utilize crack B course with your lecture to score maximum marks? Actually, I don't know what to say. Means if you are watching my lecture and you are doing the course, then it's sufficient. Already you are in the, if you are watching the lectures and you are doing this crack grade B course, definitely you are going to get the highest marks. This is why I'm making such a means extraordinary effort from my side. How the interest rates are determined in the case of CBLO. Interest rates will be determined on the basis of demand and supply. What kind of the demand and supply will be there, right? So if in the CBLO, generally because CBLO is a secured loan, right, is a secured loan. So if I am going to borrow from Chetan, right? So if I am going to borrow from Chetan but I am not providing any collateral, then definitely there will interest rate little bit higher, right? And if I am going to provide certain security against the money which I am going to borrow from Chetan, then definitely what will happen? Then definitely interest rate will be low, right? So now it depends how much liquidity is required, how much liquidity is available, right? So on that basis, interest rates will be determined. So in the CBLO operation, it is purely market determined interest rate. However, if the market interest rates are generally going unnecessarily higher or lower, then who is going to intervene to balance it? RBI is going to intervene to balance it. RBI is not directly going to involve. RBI is going to do what? Open market operations. OMO. RBI will start outrightly selling the government securities or purchasing the government securities. Sorry. If suppose that RBI want to decrease the interest rate, RBI want to decrease the interest rates here, right? In the CBLO. CBLO, you want to borrow, you have to put your government security on sale. Suppose that there is a NBFC. There is a NBFC. NBFC want to borrow from LIC. Right, NBFC is trying to borrow from LIC, and LIC is saying that he provide me the 106 rupees government security and I will discount it at 6 rupees. Right, I will discount it at 6 rupees. That means LIC is demanding interest rates of 6%. Right, RBI feel that it should be what? It should be 5%. Then RBI will do what? RBI will start open market operation, OMO. And under OMO, open market operation, RBI will start purchasing the government securities. So NBFC, the government security which NBFC do have, NBFC will sell to the RBI. Right? RBI will purchase it at the price of what? At the discount of 5 rupees. So if RBI will start purchasing at the price of 5 rupees, automatically LIC have to bring it down at 5 rupees. Otherwise, nobody is going to take loan from LIC. So in that way, RBI is going to intervene. Sir, banks can also avail this facility or only for the banks can avail this facility, but generally interest rates are slightly higher in CBLO in comparison to what? In comparison to slightly higher means point basis, some point basis or 1 point basis or 2 point basis point पे interest rate थोड़ा सा क्या होता है? Little bit higher होता है CBLO में. So bank will prefer to operate there. And see, you can enter. But who is observing? RBI is observing you. You are trying to misuse this facility. So maybe RBI can show some notice to you. Please remain focused in the particular market only. That facility is given for you to fulfill your requirement, right? So clear? कोई गिला शिकवा शिकायत दुख तकलीफ परेशानी? ओके, सीबीएलओ क्लियर है ना? इज सीबीएलओ क्लियर? एनी डाउट और क्वेश्चन एनीवन? ओके, अब कॉमर्शियल बिल भी समझ लेते हैं यहीं पर. व्हाट इज कॉमर्शियल बिल? कॉमर्शियल बिल दूसरे पे स्टार्ट करता हूं. जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकेंड. Okay, so M is a seller and N is a buyer, right? So M is a mango seller, right? He's a mango wholesaler, M, and N is a buyer in Delhi or some big city, and he is from rural area, means he's doing the plantation and all, and he is a kind of seller who do sell in the big markets in cities, right? So both are going to enter in the agreement. M is ready to sell mango worth 50 lakhs. M is ready to sell mango worth 50 lakh to N, right? N is saying that ki, okay, I promise to pay. I promise to pay. Mummy kasam, I promise to pay you 50 lakh rupees. Then M is going to say, ki, see my dear, Mummy kasam is not valid. On the proper paper, you have to make a commitment ki you are going to pay me 50 lakh rupees, right? So M is going to make a paper. M will make a paper, and in this paper, M is going to say that ki this paper is having the worth of 50 lakh rupees, right? M is going to write it here. This paper is going to be having the worth of 50 lakh rupees, which N is going to accept. N is going to accept and pay me 50 lakh rupees against this bill. Against this bill, N is agreed to pay 50 lakh rupees, right? On this date. On this date, and then M will sign and N will also sign. Then it will be called as trade bill. So there is a bill known as trade bill. Trade bill is going to be created by a seller, and he is going to give this paper to buyer. Buyer have to sign on it, and it will be kind of promissory note, right? So that promissory note is known as trade bill. Trade bill is used when seller is going to sell something to buyer, and buyer is obliged to pay against that purchasing from the seller. Then we will call it as a trade bill. Trade bill is clear. What is trade bill? What is trade bill? It is clear. अरे नालायक, एक आम थोड़ी ना है, 50 लाख के आम्स हैं तो दे आर गोइंग टू बी व्हाट, अल्फोंसो मैंगो, दे आर ऑलरेडी वेरी कॉस्टली एंड दैट इज इन द बल्क क्वांटिटी. Okay. Yes. It is comes with the legal bound because it's what, promissory note. But trade bills are unsecured. They are unsecured because they are not backed by what? They are not backed by any kind of collateral. So there is a trade bill, right? So this is what we called as a trade bill. Fine. See, I as a teacher, I used to use these two words. Sometimes people, or means I have seen that many people use term friend, right? Dosto, while teaching. I'm not kind of that person. I always feel that I am a teacher and you are the student. Only then I feel uncomfortable to teach, right? If I'll consider you as a friend, then the things are going to be blurred, and I don't want to be that thing. I just want to go with for the little bit formal. And being as a teacher, right? Being as a teacher, for me, you are always nalayak and gada, right? Because for me, for my teacher, I was always nalayak and gada, right? So for me, you are always nalayak and gada. So don't take it seriously. Means don't take it otherwise. I always show my affection when I say nalayak and gada, right? So don't worry about that. और अगर वरी हो भी हो, टेंशन ले भी रहे हो, तो मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. ठीक है. So that's why I'm telling, just clarifying because sometimes people get offensive, right? So offensive अगर मत होइए, कोई फायदा नहीं है. I use this to show my affection. Okay. Acha, Shubham has a question. If buyer break the rule, then what will happen? Obviously, then it is Thantan Gopal. अरे Thantan Gopal नहीं भाई, you can go to the court. You can go to the court to push that obligation. ठीक है. And business, some kind of the reputation, some kind of, yes, see, if you are doing the business, there is always a risk, number one, right? So you should not do the business if you do not have a risk taking capacity or capability, number one. Number two, when you are doing the business and you understand there is a risk, so it's always to be a little bit more wise while taking the risk. Don't take the risk like an unnecessary nonsense and idiot person. You should take the risk. You should sell this mangoes to buyer N while looking his credibility and capability to repay, right? Credibility and capability to repay. So after considering all those things, M must go for this transaction, right? Some kind of mishappening will be there, then definitely, because a risk factor is always involved in the business, then that will happen, always happen, right? And this is the one of the common thing when you are doing the business, right? So don't think in irrational manner, think in the rational manner. You are doing the business, right? And business always have a risk factor. So no need to think in terms of Thantan Gopal. Think in terms of Lakshmi ji rather than Gopal ji. Okay. Now, so I hope trade bill is clear. Now, if in this trade bill, bank is also going to be involved. Bank is also going to be involved in this kind of trade between M and N, then it will be known as commercial bill. For example, how it is going to happen. M want to sell, and against that selling, he need how much? He need 50 lakh rupees, right? M need, N have to pay 50 lakh rupees to M in order to get that mangoes, right? So that trade bill is being created by whom? That trade bill is going to be created by a seller, and he got the signature of N on this trade bill, right? So when this trade bill was signed, here. The date, suppose that it was, the payment date is, suppose that 1st September 2022. The date is written here, 1st September 2022, and it is a counter signed by whom? It is counter signed by buyer. But seller need money little bit earlier. Seller need this money little bit earlier. For example, seller this money on 1st August, right? Seller this need money 1st of August. So he do not have a money, but he have this trade bill. Trade bill of 50 lakh rupees, right? Which is going to mature at 1st September. So with this trade bill, he will go to the bank and he will say that, please give me 50 lakh rupees. Please give me 50 lakh rupees. I need 50 lakh rupees, and as a guarantee, I can give you this trade bill. So bank is going to say, okay, but that is unsecured. That is unsecured. Why? Because there is no collateral against that, right? So kind of risk is involved. So seller said yes, risk is involved. So bank said that, okay, I am going to take your this trade bill. I will take your this trade bill. Okay. Against that trade bill, I will offer you how much? 49,50,000. 49,50,000 I will offer you. If you agree, then you can give this trade bill to me, right? And I can offer you 49,50,000. Fine. So 49,50,000, he hold it, right? So M agreed. Suppose M agreed and he has given this trade bill to whom? He has given this trade bill to bank. So now bank hold this trade bill, and this trade bill held by the bank is known as commercial bill. It is known as commercial bill. So when bank is going to hold, right? Bank is going to hold this trade bill in the form of commercial bill on 1st September. It will go to that person, this person, sorry, to N, and will produce this bill, and bank will get how much? 50 lakh. So how much bank has earned as an interest? 50,000. Right? Bank can earn 50,000. Now suppose the date was not 1st September, date was 1st December. Date was 1st December 2022. Right? 1st December 2022. And in between, on 1st of September, this commercial bill, which was held by the bank found another opportunity, right? And bank sold this bill to another person. So like this seller sold this bill to whom? Bank. And then bank, rather than holding it, it has sold this bill to another person by further rediscounting. First, bank has discounted this bill of 50,000. Then on the further discount, bank has sold this bill to another person, right? So in that way, it was the primary market of this commercial bill. And if bank is not going to hold, but it is going to sell that bill to another person or another entity, then it will be the secondary market, right? So in that way, the commercial bill operations happen, and at the time of maturity, it is going to present to that person who have the final liability to pay. So in this way, this commercial bill market will work. You can see that the risk factor is involved, right? The risk factor is involved. So commercial bill can be issued only by the proper rated companies. Everyone is not allowed, but some companies who have the higher rating and minimum AA rating is required. Minimum AA rating is required. So minimum AA rating companies and other financial institutions, they can issue this commercial bill, right? So I have just given you the example of seller and buyer. But in the reality, when this commercial bill transaction will happen, the companies must have what? Means here, who created this? Who created this trade bill? Trade bill was created by M, and who has signed? N. So M must be assured. He must be clear that N have minimum AA rating by credit rating companies. Only then it can be happen. Right. So this is what we call this as a commercial bill. Yes, bill of exchange, you can call it as a bill of exchange. In the US, it is basically called as a bill of exchange. Clear? Is it clear? Commercial bill? So in money market, you can easily, means since I have initiated the discussion, you can clearly see that here RBI banks, right? In one kind of the operation, RBI and banks are there, and in other kind of operation, RBI, banks, financial institutions, they are involved, and in third kind of operation, RBI, banks, financial institutions, corporates are involved, right? Financial institutions and corporate are involved. Here, call, notice money, right? Here, apart from this, you can see that T-bills, right? T-bills are being involved, CDs are being involved, right? And here, CP and CB. Here, CBLO is also involved. But here, when we talk about the CP and especially CB, commercial paper, and commercial bills. So that's why they are known as corporate bond market. Corporate bond market. You have seen here a lot of secured instruments. Secured instruments are involved here, whereas here most of the things are what? They are unsecured, right? Most of the instrument, these two instruments are unsecured instrument. So a lot of risk is involved here, right? So if risk is higher, interest rate is also going to be higher, right? If you are in the risky side, right, and you want to borrow, then definitely you have to what? You have to pay more interest rates, right? If you are in not in the higher risk side, then there will be what? There will be low interest rate. Please try to understand this thing in little bit more rational manner. When we talk about risk involved, right? government job versus private job. Government job versus private job. Definitely, there is high security in the government job, right? But everyone didn't is not going to get the government job, right? So they will work in the private sector, right? So in the private sector, when we are working, we are always on risk, right? We are always on risk of not having a job security, right? There is always risk involved. But if your economy is flourishing properly and lot of opportunities are available even in the private sector, right? Switching, getting the job easily, if such kind of facility is going to be available, right? Then gradually people will also going to believe that there is no need to go for mad rush for the government job. Classic example is western economies, US and European countries. You know, in US people do not want to work for the government. In US people will work for the government on contracts, 2-year contract, 4-year contract, 5-year contract, because they don't want to work for the government for their entire life, right? They want to work for the government only on the basis of contract, 2-year contract, 3-year contract, 4-year contract, because their government is whatever the social security is going to provided by the government, the same kind of the social security is also provided by the private sector. Like in India, new pension scheme, right? So new pension scheme is available for government people as well as private people in PS, right? So gradually, when your economy will flourish, right? Economy will flourish, and lot of opportunity is going to be created in the private sector. Gradually, the risk, what people perceive as a risk in the private job, it's going to gradually down. The people who feel a risk in 1990s with respect to the private job, they feel it very risky. Now gradually in India people are able to understand this factor ki okay, private sector also have an opportunity, right? Still they have this conviction in their mind ki government job hoti hai, private hi hoti hai. They have this conviction, but somehow they're realizing that ki yes, private sector is not a kind of bad. Private sector is also providing an opportunity. And if India is going to be what more proper big economy and going to create a lot of employment, then in next 20-30 years people are going to have this thing ki okay, private job bhi sahi hoti hai. Like in US, because we are literally 40-50 years back, means we are behind the US and European markets, right? So gradually in India people are also going to accept this thing, right? This is the same case for the corporate bond market. You can see that in the corporate bond market right now, there is a huge scope, but because the interest rates are high, banks involvement is there, so that is why in the corporate bond market there is less amount of participation. However, RBI is making different kind of efforts to gradually develop the corporate bond market more reliable market. Means जो ठन गोपाल वाला इशू आया था ना, that was valid कि अरे risk है, there is a risk. So when you are not going to think in this manner, right, you are positively going to do this thing, then you are going to have a proper developed corporate bond market like we do have in US and European countries, right? In US and European countries, people who want to save and invest, saving is everywhere. In India there is a saving by the people of their income, and in US and European countries there is a saving by the people, right? But the difference is कि in US it is normal thing, it is very normal thing, or it is a common thing, not normal, it's a common thing to invest in the stocks, bonds, shares, rather than FD करा लो and LIC करा लो. Right? For example, in India, whenever you will enter in the job, people will say that कि future के लिए save करना शुरू कर दो. The safest option is what? Safest option is LIC and FD. Gradually, people are trying to comfortable, little bit more comfortable, not properly comfortable. They try to enter in what? Hybrid kind of the thing, that is mutual fund sahi hai. Why they are saying this thing ki mutual fund sahi hai, right? Earlier, 10 years back, mutual fund, mutual funds are subject to market risk, right? Now they are treating in the different manner, because now they feel that ki even people are ready to listen. Earlier people was not ready to listen. अरे शेयर मार्केट में पैसा लगाएगा, दिमाग खराब हो गया है. This kind of the statement was there. Still such kind of statements are there, but people are gradually moving towards that thing, right? Especially the new generation of Indians, they are also looking not only the security but for higher returns. For higher returns, you have to take the higher risk, right? So well developed corporate bond market not only shows a good interest rates flow in your market, but also show that ki how people of your country have knowledge of financial market, right? So this is all about the corporate bond market. अरे लोग क्या बोलते हैं वो हम बताएंगे, आप सुनेंगे, ठीक है? कोई कंफ्यूजन है तो आप मेरे से पूछिए. लोग क्या बोलते हैं वो मैं बताऊंगा. दैट्स माय जॉब. Sir, I am from IIT Chennai. My friends recommended you. Your way of explaining and knowledge is awesome. Thank you. Please tell about you at the end of this class. Okay, at the end of class, whatever you want to ask, means whatever you want to know about me, let me means ask me. I will let you know. Is it clear? Corporate bond market. What is corporate bond market? What is corporate bond market? Is it clear? अरे जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड उधर आएगा भाई, कैपिटल मार्केट में. बताऊंगा. आई विल एक्सप्लेन द जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड. अभी तो हम बॉन्ड की बात ही नहीं कर रहे भाई. अभी तो हम सिर्फ क्या है कि शॉर्ट टर्म इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की बात कर रहे हैं. वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट ओनली शॉर्ट टर्म इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, राइट? दैट द पार्ट ऑफ मनी मार्केट. व्हेन वी विल कम टू व्हाट, व्हेन वी विल कम टू दिस कैपिटल मार्केट, then we will discuss the zero coupon bond. Okay. Surya, RBI question mark ये क्या भाई? Please let me know. RBI question mark what it means that. Okay. So I have given you an understanding of corporate bond market. Okay. Probably tonight, if I am able to do some work, I will share one or two compiled article on corporate bond market tonight, or maximum by tomorrow morning, I will share a corporate bond market related to one or two articles, right? What you have to do, read those articles and try to understand the basic things. And if you have any doubt with respect to those articles, let me know. In tomorrow's class, I will explain you. हाँ भाई, RBI, yes, RBI monitors money market. Yes, they have different role. They have different role, Chetan. So I'm moving towards the capital market. One instrument I deliberately didn't tell you, which is a part of money market. One instrument is money market mutual fund. Money market mutual funds are also part of the money market. They are an instrument of money market. But until unless you don't know about the mutual fund, there is no sense to tell you about the money market mutual fund, right? And I hope you understand the way I teach. I do not want to involve in those things which I have not told you. So first I will explain you what capital market, and while explaining the capital market, we will go to mutual funds. We will understand the mutual fund, and while explaining the mutual fund, I will tell you about money market mutual fund. That is, I'm going to explain you there, and I will mention you that this is the instrument of money market. So that's why I'm just leaving this money market mutual fund, and I'm going to capital market. Yes, clearing house is doesn't mean that na ki you are clearing the same thing. Being as a clearing house, it doesn't mean that na ki you are clearing the same thing. Maybe you are clearing the different things, right? So it doesn't mean that yes, they are both are the clearing houses, but they have their different role in their different domain. Okay. So capital market, first thing you keep in your mind, it is a market of long term financial requirement, right? Long term financial requirement. So here, to fulfill these requirement, not only borrowing but also equity and shares are going to be used as an instrument in capital market. In capital market. In money market, because it was what? It was short term requirement market, right? So short term requirement or working requirement or working capital requirement. So if you are going to put your equity on sale, you are going to sell the shareholding of your company in order to fulfill your daily requirements, then there is no credibility of you, right? There is no credibility of you. That is why in money market, stakes are not on sale. Shareholdings are not being offered. Only short-term lending instruments are going to be available. Whereas in the capital market, both instruments are going to be available, whether it is equity or it is what? Borrowing instrument, right? So that is why on this basis, what we will do on this basis, what we will do, we will divide capital market in two parts. Bond market and equity or share market. Bond market means, what is bond? Is long term debt instrument or long term debt security is known as bond, right? Okay, Chetan. So bond and equity market. Bond market is a market of a fixed maturity instruments. Here the maturity will be there. At a point of time, bond is going to mature. So bond market comes with the maturity. Whereas equity and share, once you are going to sell your equity or share, then it is up to that person to whom you have sold. It is outright purchase and selling, right? So it is a market of outright selling and purchasing. Means once you sold, you cannot push that person to sell you back, right? You cannot force that person to sell you back. That's why I'm saying that it is outright selling and outright purchasing. Whereas in the bond market, when the bond is going to mature, you have to return that bond paper to that company, and company will repay the money which they have borrowed with interest, right? And non-interest bearing bonds are known as zero coupon bond, right? I will explain in the detail, but I hope the basic understanding of the capital market, they are part of what? Bond market and equity market. Now just try to understand when people will share market, equity market. So they are actually talking about this. They are talking about this, but they do not understand this classification. So they use this term share market, share market, share market. Share market, actually what they want to say, it's not just a equity and bond market, it is capital market, right? So being as a knowledgeable person, you should try to understand, one is capital market, and capital market have two basic part. One is bond market and another is equity market, right? So there is lot of activity in the share market in comparison to bond market. Again, I'm not saying that there is less activity in the bond market. I am saying that in comparison to equity market, there is less activity in the bond market. Both market have huge amount of transactions on daily basis, but if you will compare equity market, there more transactions means more possibility of fluctuations. So that's why most of the time we heard about only share market, right? Most of the time we heard about only share market. Fine. I will explain in detail. Bond yielding is not kind of thing can be explained in one line. So bond yielding, when I will explain the bond market in detail, I will explain the bond yielding, because once I will explain, I have to also explain what will be the impact on bond yielding. For example, if US Federal Reserve is going to increase the interest rate, what will happen on the bond yielding? And the interest rates and bond yielding are inversely proportional. So a lot of things are being here, my dear, and I don't want to just put you in the confusion. So whenever I'll explain in detail, and next class it will come. Don't worry. Okay, Surya. So here I'm going to wind it up this class. So any of you have question like Chetan and Suresh was asking for that thing? If you have any question, please ask me. Government scheme, I'm going to means I'm going to work on it. I will provide the details for the government scheme. See, Chetan, your basic question is ki why we are going to have this national bank for financing and infrastructure development, right? So see, the point is to have different organization is not a bad thing. Actually, you must have dedicated financial entity for a particular financial requirement, right? It should not be like a joint family kind of the thing. There is a single person who is looking over each and everything, right? So we need a specialized agency for a specialized work. So this is the basic philosophy of having different all India financial institution. So initially you have started with the NABARD. Later on, maybe it is going to be completely autonomous body. Like NABARD, when it was started having the equity stake of RBI, later on what happened? NABARD become fully autonomous, right? Though some few things still are being controlled by the RBI because RBI must have to control the things, right? It's an apex organization, a central bank. So in the capacity of central bank, RBI must have to look over the developmental institution. That's why. Otherwise, most of the functioning of NABARD is like autonomous. Fine. So similarly, infrastructure is the biggest bottleneckness in India. And from independence, we tried to improve the infrastructure, but not in very competitive way. Means we do not have an eye on particular what target. Now India is looking infrastructure, have a target in the mind ki we will try to have at par. We will try to at par infrastructure as China do have. Because if we are going to have an infrastructure like China do have, it is more possibility for India being as a democratic country, more possibility for India in comparison to China. And the rising power of China is going to create a problem for whom? Is going to create a problem for Western and European countries. So if we are going to have a good infrastructure in our country, definitely we can give a good competition to China and we can flourish our economy. Right. So last 10 years, government in last 20 years, government has put more effort to develop the infrastructure in the country. Even since last 25 years, I must say, government is making an effort. Right. But that efforts were not able to yield the desired results. So when your efforts are not going to yield the desired result for which you have taken an initiative, right, then we must have to go for functional specialization. So the present government believe in the functional specialization kind of the thing. So that is why you can see the such kind of functional specialized agencies for the different work for the different thing. Like if you will compare the Niti Ayog and the Planning Commission was very powerful body, very powerful body. Here you can see that Niti Ayog is just limited to what? Just drafting the things. right? So their role is what? Just make a niti, right, and have an assessment of it. Means you have to draft the policy and assess the policy. That is your work, limited. Execution must be done by the different specialized agency, not from you. So this is the classic difference between the planning commission and the Niti Ayog. So Niti Ayog is a kind of organization which is also have a functional specialization, and itself means after having this 7 to 7 years, Niti Ayog's work is also going to be assessed, right? Government is going to do this thing. They are going to critically review the functioning of Niti Ayog also. So government believe in the functional specialization for the better and optimal utilization of the resources. So this is why we do have this new organization. अरे टेलीग्राम पे ग्रुप डिस्कशन की अभी जरूरत नहीं है, आप अपने से ही पढ़ाई करो. आई एम टेलिंग यू इन योर बेस्ट इंटरेस्ट, राइट? आई एम टेलिंग इन योर बेस्ट इंटरेस्ट, फोकस on your own self study, use the internet and authentic sources for your study rather than looking other people, right? And why I'm saying this thing, because when somebody is going to share that PDF or something, their views, even I'm saying that means being myself, if somebody is going to ask question me, I have to cross verify, and after that I will explain that thing to you, right? I will always do this thing. But when you are peer to peer kind of the thing, it is not going to work. I'm telling you with my experience. Try to understand. It's not going to work for you. What is going to work for you ki how much you are studying and how much you are able to consolidate it. That is going to work for you. Still, if you don't believe me, I will ask Ashok sir to open the group for that thing. But that is going to create a chaos there. I know that. I know that. I have an experience since last 4 to 5 years, especially in last 3 years, from 2019 onwards. I have a good experience regarding these Telegram groups, right? Where the aspirants are there, right? I'm not saying that ki you are not a serious aspirant, but what I'm trying to say that ki it's going to be in a different way, right? Daily there will be 100 messages and your question is going to be lost. This is the story of most of the Telegram group which have more number of the student, like 100 plus student. That is the story, right? Sometimes unnecessary fighting, unnecessary discussion, unnecessary things will go on, right? So this is why I will not personally recommend you to go for such kind of the option. Better to do it yourself. Still have a doubt, ask me. That is going to better option. Descriptive Deepak, actually I told you 2 days back that there is a possibility of some changes when the notification is out, going to be out, maybe some changes. That's why I deliberately holded that descriptive session, because I told you that 1.5 hours I will take for what class and half an hour descriptive. But when I heard about that there may be some changes, so that's why I deliberately stopped it. Once the notification will be out, I will again start that descriptive session. Don't worry. Okay, everyone. So time to say good night. We will meet tomorrow. I will try to be at 8, if not possible at 8. I will try my best for 8, because some students suggested that sir 8 is the fine time. I will try my best. If it is not possible, then definitely 8:30 I will start. Okay. Okay then. Good night.